Michael Beschloss, can you just talk about these midterms? I mean, have we had ever a midterm before where we have been able to say democracy is truly on the line?
Not in the way that we are tonight. 1860, the time of the brink of the Civil War, 1940, when freedom was in danger around the world against Hitler and the Imperial Japanese and Italian fascism. This is a midterm where this could happen extremely fast. The rule of law in this country is in danger, and especially free and fair elections. Remember, Alicia, that gubernatorial Republican candidate in Wisconsin who said, elect me and a Republican will never lose in Wisconsin again. And I commend everyone. I'm so glad you showed Ruth's book, Strong Men. Anyone who wants to know what happens if we lose our democracy and consult world history, Germany, Italy, all sorts of other places, Ruth does it better than anyone I've seen. I
could not agree with you more, Ruth. I can't do a better tee up than that. You are the expert on the rise of dictators, fascism. I have to say, I'm not sure I ever thought I'd be talking to you 3 days out before a midterm election, and yet here we are, and your expertise couldn't be more relevant.
Yeah, unfortunately so. And democracy is on the ballot. I'm worried about two things. Political violence, because unfortunately, with the absorption of the methods of January 6th into the Republican Party, the integration of extremists, now extremists like Mark Fincham of Arizona and Oath Keeper are going to become the lawmakers, perhaps, and also the delegitimation of elections. What happens if, people who refuse to accept the results of an election and are also anti-government extremists become the majority lawmakers? I don't know what happens to our democracy in that case.
Right. I mean, and I think part of what makes this moment so complicated, Michael, is that you look at the headwinds that Democrats are up against, which is that democracy can feel like this very big, potentially esoteric concept to voters who, whatever it is, they're worried about gas, they're worried about the cost of eggs at the grocery store. I mean, I wonder through your lens what you make of what feels like a real core tension between needs that feel really immediate and needs that we can argue are deeply immediate but may not feel that way to voters.
I'm optimistic Americans will do the right thing. If we don't have a democracy, if we lose our freedoms, if we lose elections, then it's not going to matter very much what gas prices are, because we won't have a system that makes sure that we live in a lawful and prosperous way. That's what's at stake this week. Americans gave their lives at Valley Forge and on D-Day and at Selma to preserve those freedoms. Are we going to give them up this week because we're so obsessed with issues that, granted, are extremely important to Americans and should be, but at the same time, for over 2 centuries, we have said the way you get satisfaction on those issues is to make sure that the system survives. I don't want to lose our freedoms this week. I want what Abraham Lincoln would have called a new birth of freedom. I hope we see that beginning on Tuesday night.